Recovering Starship Ship 40 after 24 days at sea supplies the first long-duration ocean exposure data for upper stage reuse planning. This is SpaceX Daily, episode 73. A photographer captured images of the Starship upper stage under tow near the Florida coast during its return from open ocean. The vehicle had spent roughly 24 days adrift before SpaceX recovery teams secured it. Engineers are now preparing to inspect the heat shield, flaps, and structure for saltwater effects and thermal protection performance. Recovery crews successfully guided the Starship upper stage to a holding position near Christmas Island after the extended drift. This inspection builds on the flight test campaign ongoing at Starbase and will show whether marine exposure introduces new refurbishment steps. A SpaceX recovery team is en route to perform additional structural and thermal analysis before the vehicle is towed back to Starbase. Observers on r/SpaceX Lounge are discussing whether the 24-day drift will reveal new heat shield degradation patterns not seen in shorter recoveries. Users are also sharing photos of the Starship upper stage under tow near Christmas Island and comparing them to earlier booster recoveries. A Falcon 9 is scheduled to lift off from Vandenberg Space Force Base at 8:45 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, carrying 24 Starlink satellites. Public viewing areas remain open along the Central Coast with expected clear sightlines from several beaches. The mission continues the steady cadence of constellation replenishment flights. The Starlink 17-50 mission will add another 24 broadband satellites to the company's mega constellation. Bernstein analysts highlighted full Starship reusability as the central variable that could unlock additional orbital capacity for AI-related payloads. The note ties projected launch economics directly to the ability to recover and refly both stages at high cadence. Reusability milestones remain the gating item for the firm's bullish outlook. An analyst raised the SpaceX target to $248, citing the potential for Starship-enabled orbital data center and AI satellite architectures. The forecast links launch economics to future compute demand in low Earth orbit. NASA awarded contracts for lunar and orbital services to Blue Origin and Firefly, diversifying its supplier base beyond SpaceX. The selections cover cargo delivery and technology demonstration missions. The awards arrive as SpaceX continues to hold the majority of current NASA launch and crew work. The contracts give the agency backup options for lunar cargo and demonstration flights. Worth keeping an eye on, NASA's selection of Blue Origin and Firefly for upcoming lunar and orbital services reduces SpaceX's share of new agency awards. The contracts cover cargo delivery and technology demonstrations that could have gone to Falcon or Starship vehicles. Diversification gives NASA backup options if SpaceX faces delays or capacity constraints. Resolution depends on whether future NASA solicitations restore a larger role for SpaceX hardware. On the AI front, Cursor launched its Origin code hosting platform, positioned as a direct rival to GitHub and built specifically for AI agent workflows. The release arrived the same day GitHub experienced a multi-hour outage, drawing immediate developer attention. Origin allows users to sync existing GitHub repositories while adding agent-native review and hosting features. Early users note seamless import from existing GitHub accounts. Reports indicate SpaceX is exploring direct-to-cell mobile service expansion inside the United States. The effort would build on existing carrier partnerships already operating in other regions. Musk separately noted that further star naming may be retired. The potential domestic rollout would extend Starlink's direct-to-cell capability to additional U.S. carriers. The engineering reality is that Starship Ship 40's 24-day open ocean drift tests the upper stage's ability to survive prolonged saltwater exposure without active thermal control or protective measures. The primary constraint is corrosion and moisture ingress at seals, joints, and the heat shield bond line. Each hour in salt spray adds cumulative risk to tile adhesion and flap actuators. By guiding the vehicle to Christmas Island rather than attempting an immediate return tow, SpaceX trades transit time for calmer water inspection access, allowing engineers to gather data on real degradation rates before the hardware is disturbed. That data directly informs the idiot index for reuse. If the finished upper stage must be rebuilt after every flight because of marine exposure, the cost multiple over raw stainless steel, tiles, and propellant rises sharply. Achieving rapid, full reusability therefore requires either eliminating ocean recovery altogether through tower catch or proving that the added refurbishment cost remains small enough to keep the per kilogram to orbit figure near the projected single-digit dollars. The next observable milestone is whether the post-inspection condition of Ship 40 supports a return to Starbase with minimal intervention or forces a longer maintenance cycle. Engineers will measure tile bond integrity, flap actuator function, and any internal moisture that reached avionics or propellant lines. Those measurements will update models that predict how many flights an upper stage can complete before major overhaul. The outcome also affects planning for orbital refueling demonstrations, because a vehicle that needs extensive post-recovery work cannot maintain the high flight rate required for tanker operations. If the data show acceptable degradation, the program gains confidence that ocean recovery remains viable until tower catch capability matures. The same data set will influence production decisions at the gigabay. If refurbishment labor scales with ocean time, the cost per flight rises and the economic case for building more ships to support parallel missions weakens. Conversely, if the hardware tolerates 24 days at sea with only routine cleaning and tile replacement, the factory can focus on rate rather than on adding extra margin to every vehicle. Turning briefly to the market, S&P CX moved lower on mixed analyst notes about reusability progress and the new NASA contract awards. Before we go, the inspection results from Ship 40 will shape the next steps for Starship reuse planning. That covers everything worth knowing about SpaceX today. S&P CX is trading at $140.57, down 3.7%. A quick rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify goes a long way. I'm Patrick in Vancouver. See you tomorrow. This show comes to you from the NARA network. If you want another sharp daily briefing, Modern Investing Techniques has you covered. Modern strategies for Canadian and U.S. investors. All our shows are free at naranetwork.com. And on the website, every episode's visuals live in our free image gallery at naranetwork.com/gallery. Royalty-free under Creative Commons. Download with attribution. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.